After my mom died in a hit-and-run caused by my husband's old childhood friend, Tessa, my husband, a lawyer, dragged her to court. He was convinced she was guilty. But the court's verdict? My mom was supposedly trying to pull off an insurance scam. 8 lawsuits, 8 defeats. My husband, Ethan, kept fighting, refusing to let it go. Tessa, in tears, begged him to stop. We grew up together, Ethan. Why can't you just move on? His response was ice cold. Tessa, if you take a life, you pay for it. But after the 10th lawsuit failed, Ethan came to me, his voice heavy with guilt. I'm sorry, Zara. There's no evidence to pin on Tessa. Maybe it's time we let your mom rest. I broke down in his arms, sobbing through the night. The next day, though, something snapped. I kidnapped Tessa and started a live stream. Smiling at the camera, I spoke directly to Ethan. You've got 10 chances to hand over the real evidence, or... Without hesitation, I cut off Tessa's pinky finger. You'll have to piece your sweetheart back together yourself. The live stream exploded, hitting 100,000 viewers instantly. Tessa was tied to a chair, gagged, while I stood behind her, knife in hand, grinning. The audience was on edge, but no one was more shaken than Ethan. Zara, stop. There's nothing suspicious about your mom's case. I've checked everything, he shouted, his face frantic on the screen. I shook my head, laughing. You still haven't given the police the real evidence. The chat went wild. Is she out of her mind? 10 losses in court, what more does she want? This woman's delusional. She won't accept anything but murder. Her husband's a top lawyer, charging millions, and he dropped everything for her. That's love, and she's throwing it away. Ethan seemed to calm down as he read the comments siding with him. His voice grew steady. Zara, the evidence is clear. I don't know what else you expect me to do. What you're doing is a crime. Let Tessa go, and I'll defend you in court. I didn't respond. Instead, I grabbed Tessa's ear and sliced it off. Ethan's face froze. I held the ear up to the camera. Think I'm playing? You're out of your mind, he yelled, pale as a ghost. I tossed the ear to the ground and held up one finger.
1.
You've got 10 chances, Ethan. 10 trials, 10 cover-ups. 10 minutes each time to hand over the evidence you've been hiding. The comments kept coming, most calling me stubborn or crazy for not accepting the court's rulings. What's she even talking about? There's no evidence. She's just having a meltdown on live video. Her mom died trying to scam someone. Tessa's the real victim. The police messaged me directly. We know where you are. Drop the knife and surrender. I just smirked. My best friend had set me up with tech to scramble my location. The cops didn't have a clue where I was. Sure enough, they went quiet. The viewers were freaking out, flooding the police's accounts, demanding action. The 911 lines were swamped. Eventually, the police admitted they couldn't track me and were bringing in their top tech experts. I glanced at my watch, then pressed the knife against Tessa's cheek. Ready, sweetheart? Wait, Ethan shouted, sweat dripping down his face. Ethan sent over some evidence pretty fast. I skimmed it, stuff I'd never seen before. But it wasn't enough. One look and I knew it didn't prove Tessa killed my mom. Without a second thought, I grabbed a pencil and stabbed it into Tessa's right eye. She let out a muffled scream through the gag, thrashing in the chair as blood poured from her socket, tears streaming from her other eye. Ethan slammed his desk, his face practically pressed against the camera.
Zara.
I gave you what you asked for. What the hell are you doing? I waved the printed evidence at the camera. You think I'm an idiot? This looks legit, but it doesn't prove Tessa's a murderer. I tossed the papers to the floor and stomped on them, glaring at him. Ethan, half-baked evidence won't cut it. His face went even paler. The viewers were furious, flooding the chat. Your mom died because her scam went wrong. Faking murder evidence would ruin Ethan. He's a top lawyer with a stellar reputation. You're the one committing crimes here. I'll let Tessa go already. I just smiled and checked my watch. 6 minutes left, Ethan. He gripped his desk, staring into the camera. The case is solid. What more do you want? You know exactly what. I shot back. If you really care about your old friend Tessa, you'd hand over the real evidence.
Now.
Ethan clenched his jaw. If I was trying to trick you, I'd have passed you off to some cheap lawyer. Why would I waste years fighting for you? I tilted my head. Only you know why. The online hate was growing. People called me cruel, saying I didn't deserve Ethan. The police negotiation team kept messaging me, but I ignored them, sitting next to Tessa, my foot tapping on the blood-stained floor. Time's up,
I said, standing.
Tessa looked at me with her one good eye, trembling. Zara. A familiar voice broke through. I turned to the screen. Uncle Ray. He stood there, looking serious. Zara, I've studied your mom's case inside and out. It's not what you think. My knife hovered over Tessa's forehead as I glared at the camera. Uncle Ray, what are you saying? He stood tall, all business. I'm a crime scene analyst. I've gone over your mom's case at least 10 times. The evidence shows it was her fault.
I stared, stunned.
You're saying my mom was running a scam?
He sighed.
Zara, we have to face the facts. The physical evidence proves it. Facts. I snapped, pointing at the camera. She was your sister. When we were broke, Mom would give back $100 if she found it on the street. She taught me kindness her whole life. You've known her for decades. How can you believe this? Uncle Ray frowned. People change, Zara. I laughed bitterly and ripped the gag off Tessa's mouth. Looks like you're the one who's changed. Hell. Tessa started to scream, but I grabbed her jaw, forcing her mouth open. I reached for a pair of pliers. One by one, I yanked out her teeth, blood pooling on the floor. Tessa's screams were gut-wrenching. Stop it, Zara. Uncle Ray shouted, his face close to the camera. Enough. But I didn't stop until every tooth was gone. Tessa slumped in the chair, shaking, blood dripping from her mouth. She looked broken. Tessa, Uncle Ray's voice cracked, his eyes trembling. I stared into the camera. Oh, so Uncle Ray knows her too? He froze, then quickly put on a stern face. You're shaming your mother's memory, Zara? I smirked and checked my watch. 3 chances down. Round 4 starts now. 10 minutes. I sat next to Tessa, spinning the pliers in my hand. Ethan was pacing in front of his camera, losing it. With 30 seconds left, I started counting down. 29, 28. There's no murder evidence, he yelled. What do you want from me? The chat exploded with outrage. If there was evidence, he'd have given it up by now. She's trying to ruin him. This woman's pure evil. 5, 4. Zara, stop. 3, 2. Snap out of it. 1. Mommy. A small voice cut through. I froze and stood up. Logan. Mommy. Logan's tear-streaked face filled the screen, sobbing uncontrollably. Logan, did Daddy bring you here? I asked, my voice sharp. I told my best friend to keep my son out of this. Had she betrayed me? Mommy, Grandma really crashed into Auntie Tessa's car on purpose. Logan cried. My heart stopped. The chat erupted, angrier than ever. Zara, look at the mess you've made. Traumatizing your own kid. Even your son's telling the truth, and you're still denying it? Do you even have a heart? I gripped the knife tighter. Logan, your grandma sang you lullabies. She broke her leg fighting off kidnappers to save you. He sobbed harder. Grandma said she was gonna scam Auntie Tessa. I'm not lying, Mommy. Please let her go. Ethan pulled Logan into a hug, glaring at the camera. Zara, are you really going to doubt your own son? I clenched my teeth. What did you tell him to say? The viewers lost it. Is she actually crazy? She's acting like those clueless characters in books who never believe the truth. Ethan's voice was thick with anger. If you won't listen to Logan, who will you listen to? I grabbed Tessa's hair, forcing her battered face toward the camera. The knife traced her cheek as I smiled. Ethan, did you think I would notice you texting her every night during those appeals? His eyes widened. 4th chance gone. I raised the knife above Tessa's left eye. Mommy, Logan shouted, holding up an envelope. Grandma told me to give this to you before she died. I froze, the knife hovering just above Tessa's eye. The letter said my mom couldn't bear the pain of her cancer anymore. She chose to end her life this way, knowing Tessa had always caused trouble for me. It was her way of getting revenge. I read it again and again, checking every detail. The handwriting looked like Mom's, down to her unique little pause when lifting the pen. Mommy, please come home, Logan begged, tears streaming. Ethan held him close, his voice firm. Zara, you never liked Tessa, but you can't just make things up. Your mom had end-stage cancer. Morphine didn't even help. It makes sense she'd do this. I checked the evidence 10 times. You might not trust me, but don't you trust the son you raised? The knife slipped from my hand, clattering to the floor. Tessa flinched. I clutched the printed letter, tears soaking the paper. Her shaky handwriting left one final message. Zara, Mommy will always love you. Was I wrong? Did Mom really plan this? Zara. Ethan said, his voice softer now. Stop this. Stop now, and I can try to reduce your sentence. I gripped the letter tighter. Then I noticed something, a tiny detail that made my blood run cold. This letter was fake. I snatched the knife up in one swift move and slashed open Tessa's cheek. Her muffled screams were barely human anymore. Zara. Ethan yelled, his eyes wild with panic. I checked my watch. 5th chance. 10 minutes. Go. You're psycho. Ethan screamed, smashing his fist through his camera lens, his face distorting on the fractured screen. The police messaged me again. We've got your location. Drop the weapon and surrender.
Same old line.
I ignored it. The viewers were raging. The evidence is right there, and she still won't accept it. She's just jealous of Tessa and using this for revenge. She deserves the death penalty. With 9 minutes left, Ethan was practically begging. Zara, for Logan's sake, stop. I'll cut Tessa out of my life completely. Is that what you want? You think this is about jealousy? I snapped. Time was almost up. I lifted Tessa's chin with a smile. This time, it's the hand. I forced her hand onto a table, firing up an electric saw. It roared as it inched closer to her wrist. Tessa screamed, hoarse and desperate, but she couldn't stop it. Police! Don't move. Officers stormed in, slamming me to the ground. My arms were twisted behind my back, my face pressed into the floor. Ethan rushed in, hitting the saw's emergency stop and pulling Tessa into his arms. You might rot in prison for this, Zara, he shouted. I watched helplessly as he lifted Tessa onto a stretcher, her body trembling. Ethan started toward me, furious, but the cops held him back. Zara, even if you dodge the death penalty, I'll use every bit of my legal skill to make sure you never see daylight again, he roared. You'll pay. The chat went wild. Go, Ethan. We'll start a petition. This killer can't get away with it. I laughed, even as the cuffs tightened. Ethan glared. How dare you laugh? Then the medical staff gasped. Tessa, covered in blood, sat up on the stretcher, calm as if nothing had happened. Tessa. Ethan stared, shocked, as Tessa, or the woman we thought was Tessa, sat up on the stretcher. Slowly, she peeled off a layer of fake skin, revealing a completely different face. Ethan stumbled back. Who are you? The woman's voice was cold. Hello, brother-in-law. I'm Luna, magician and professional props master for film sets. She held out her perfectly intact hand. Ethan spun around, staring at the blood on the floor. A paramedic touched it, sniffed it, and shrugged. Fake blood. Ethan turned to me, his face pale. You never told me you had a sister. I just smiled, saying nothing. Where's Tessa? He demanded, grabbing my shoulders. Where's the real Tessa? I spat in his face. You crazy, he started, but the police pulled us apart before he could finish. They took me away for questioning. For a week, the police searched for Tessa, but found nothing. Finally, the chief came to interrogate me himself. I requested another live stream. Facing the camera, I smiled. I'll tell you where Tessa Crawford is, but only if she hands over the real evidence, complete and unaltered, to the police. Ethan slammed the table. I told you, the evidence is complete. You're trying to force me to lie. The chief sighed, trying to reason with me. Ms. Vale, I've reviewed this case top to bottom. The evidence checks out. It's hard, but we can't ignore the facts. I shook my head. That's because Ethan and my uncle are still hiding something. You're being unreasonable, the chief said. I paused, smiling sadly. Maybe. But you can understand someone's present by looking at their past. I know my mom's past and present. There's no way she'd leave this world like that. I looked the chief in the eye. I know her. Stick to the evidence, Ethan snapped. I met his gaze. That's exactly what I'm waiting for. You're out of your mind, he shouted, slamming his hand on the table and heading for the door. Ethan, I called after him. Do you really think Tessa killed my mom because of you? Ethan froze, his whole body stiff. Then he turned, forcing calm into his voice. Watch it. Tessa didn't kill your mom on purpose. I didn't back down. You think she was so in love with you that she got jealous and targeted me. But what if Mom saw something she wasn't supposed to, something about Tessa's other side? Shut up. Ethan lunged, trying to grab my collar, but the police stepped in. The chat exploded with question marks. Huge news. Massive scandal about Tessa Crawford. A video started spreading online. It showed a man and woman tangled up together under loud music and flashing neon lights. One face stood out. Tessa Crawford. Ethan's eyes went wide. I laughed. You thought your childhood sweetheart was your soulmate, the one who got you, who stayed pure for you all these years. You felt guilty, didn't you? Wondering if marrying me was a mistake. I stepped closer. When you were failing at your business, barely able to afford food, where was she? When creditors were pounding on your door at night, who stood by you? Now that you're a big-shot lawyer making millions, isn't it convenient that she's back? Tell me, I shouted. Ethan stumbled back, breathing hard, his face pale. No, he muttered, shaking his head. That video's fake. Technology's too good now, you'll do anything to frame her. I nodded.
Fine.
Let's get it checked. The results came back fast. No edits. The video was real. I laughed, tears in my eyes. If I hadn't found those video clips on Mom's phone, I might have believed her death was an accident. Ethan's fists shook. I stared him down. An unfaithful, disloyal woman, and you are ready to throw away your career, your integrity, for her. You hurt the woman who stood by you through everything. Sweat dripped down his forehead. I leaned in. Ethan Vale, one last chance. Hand over the evidence you've been hiding. He glared at me, jaw clenched, then slowly pulled a USB drive from his pocket. My eyes widened. Just as I reached for it, the radio crackled. Tessa Crawford has been found. The live stream suddenly cut to a new feed. In a dark room, Tessa was tied to a chair, a masked figure standing behind her with a knife, just like the start of my live stream. What's this trick now? Ethan snapped. That's Luna again, isn't it? You're bluffing. But then the gag was ripped off Tessa's mouth. She screamed at the camera. Ethan, I was forced. Zara drugged my drink to make me act like that. Get revenge for me. Ethan froze. He yanked the USB drive back from my reach, his eyes narrowing. What's going on? I sneered. You really believe her? Tessa doesn't lie, he shot back. My best friend's voice came through, distorted by a modulator. Mr. Vale, you have 10 chances to hand over the real evidence. Ethan broke out in a sweat. I held out my hand, but he gripped the USB drive tighter. In 10 minutes, your sweetheart loses an ear, the voice said. Ethan's jaw clenched. Can you stop acting crazy? I just stared, hand outstretched, silent.
The countdown began.
10, 9, 8. My friend's knife edged closer to Tessa's ear. Tessa sobbed. Ethan, help me. Ethan shut his eyes, teeth gritted, and finally shoved the USB drive into my hand. Police, a shout rang out on the stream. Drop the weapon. Cops stormed the screen, kicking the figure to the ground and sending the knife flying. Tessa was untied, completely unharmed. The chat exploded. Police heroes. Thank God. That monster's finally stopped. Drug Tessa for an insurance scam? How low can Zara go? I stared at the screen, stunned. Ethan smirked. Looks like your revenge plan's falling apart, Zara. I stayed silent, my hand dropping. The chief spoke up proudly. Your friend's clever, Ms. Vale, but our top police tech is better. Ethan leaned in, his voice cold. Zara, I won't let you get a single day shaved off your sentence. I gave a small smile. I knew he had the power to make that happen. Yeah, I said, closing my eyes. The viewers cheered. Finally, this woman's getting what she deserves. I was so scared Tessa would actually get hurt. A like mother, like daughter, scammers through and through. Her mom's cancer was probably karma. Death penalty. Who's starting the petition? Count me in.
No.
Mommy. Logan's voice cried out from outside. Grandma never said those things. Ethan went stiff. Make him shut up. Ethan roared, but the chief frowned. Bring the kid in. Logan ran into the interrogation room, tears streaming down his face. Daddy lied, he sobbed into the camera. He said if I said those things, Mommy would come home. But the officers said Mommy's never coming back. Shut up. Ethan lunged, trying to cover Logan's mouth. I stood, shouting. Ethan Vale, what did you tell my son? Grandma never said those things. Logan cried. The chief knelt down, his voice gentle. Hey, little guy, what's the deal with that letter? Logan sniffled. Daddy made me trace Grandma's handwriting. Ethan's jaw tightened. I stared at Logan, then turned and slapped Ethan hard across the face. Are you out of your mind? Using our son like this? The police stepped in to stop a fight. The chat shifted. Wait, Ethan made his kid lie? That's low. Is there actually something off with this case? Did he really hide evidence for Tessa? The chief held out his hand. Mr. Vale, hand over the USB drive. We need your cooperation. I glared at Ethan. He hesitated but finally handed it over. The chief plugged it into the computer. Everyone froze. It was empty. I told you. There's no other evidence, Ethan said coldly. Yes, I told Logan to say those things and forge the letter. But it was just to calm things down. Faking evidence of a scam was better than faking murder evidence. It'd mean lighter charges. I gritted my teeth so hard, I thought they'd crack. He was still lying. The chat relaxed. Wow, Ethan is clever. Handled a crisis like that to stop Zara's revenge. Smart move. Faking murder evidence would have hurt Tessa more. Ethan, I know you're lying. I snapped. Ms. Vale, we need evidence to back up claims, the chief said. Logan's small voice piped up. I saw. Daddy sometimes pressed a button behind the bookshelf. Ethan's face twitched. Shut up. Logan shrank back. I pulled him behind me and turned to the chief. I request a search.
No.
That's an invasion of privacy. Ethan stood, fuming. I sneered. What? Scared they'll find where you hid the evidence? Guilty or not, my private space is off limits. I'll sue, Ethan said coldly. The chief shook his head. Mr. Vale, when it's about a major case, you're obligated to cooperate. Ethan clenched his fists. I looked at him, my voice bitter. Ethan, we have a son together. Are you really going to destroy our family? He laughed coldly. Haven't you already done that? Just then, the police radio crackled. They'd found a hidden compartment behind the bookshelf. The files inside were neatly organized. They didn't just contain information from Mom's case, but from several earlier cases as well. The police collected everything for investigation and were stunned to uncover evidence proving Tessa's premeditated hit and run. Ethan had always told it differently. In his version, Tessa acted out of passion. He claimed that because Mom had stopped her from interfering between him and me, Tessa developed murderous intent. That was why Ethan felt such misplaced sympathy for her. But the new evidence revealed the truth. Tessa killed because Mom had caught her affair. Afraid Mom would tell Ethan and ruin her chance to become a rich man's wife, she chose to silence her. The 10 lawsuits were only meant to wear me down, to make me, the one person unwilling to let go, finally give up so Tessa could protect her future. Ethan even had Logan imitate Mom's handwriting perfectly, but he overlooked one small detail. Mom had a habit of always putting a period at the end of her writing. In the entire letter, not a single one appeared. Uncle Ray noticed the inconsistency, but chose silence, since Ethan had paid him generously to keep quiet. When Uncle Ray said people change, he was really talking about himself. Even without Tessa's confession, the evidence chain was complete. Her denial no longer mattered. Ethan's situation was worse. Not only had he shielded Tessa, but the hidden compartment also contained hundreds of tightly packed case files. He hadn't just hidden evidence from Mom's case, but also suppressed materials harmful to his other clients. Many of those cases involved powerful officials and wealthy elites. I finally understood how he dared charge 7 figures for each case. Those files were his insurance, leveraged to ensure his clients never turned on him. They needed him stable, so they let him thrive. And he had used the same tactic on Tessa, twisting justice for her while also holding deadly leverage against her. Their so-called romance was nothing but calculation on both sides. When the trial began, the two tore each other apart in court, spitting accusations and insults. All their whispered vows behind my back collapsed into ridicule. Uncle Ray stood before the judge, crying bitterly over his sister's fate. I couldn't tell how much was sincere grief and how much was performance. In the end, Tessa was sentenced to death for intentional murder. Ethan received over 20 years in prison for abuse of power, stripped of political rights for life. Uncle Ray lost his position for perjury and was sentenced to more than 5 years. As for me, I had monopolized huge public resources and staged a shocking live stream incident. Even if it had been fake, both my best friend and I still faced detention and fines. Thankfully, countless viewers petitioned on our behalf, and the judge granted us maximum leniency on humanitarian grounds. We were released quickly, and our lives were not seriously affected. I treated my best friend to dinner, apologized sincerely, and tried to give her expensive gifts to make up for it. She refused them all. When I helped you, I already knew the risks, she said. I didn't do it for your thanks or gifts. I did it for justice. Meanwhile, Logan sometimes asked where his father had gone. After long consideration, I told him the truth. I didn't want him growing up to discover it suddenly and be crushed. Logan, do you blame Mommy for sending Daddy to prison? I asked. He shook his head. Daddy made me lie and write fake letters. He protected the bad woman who killed Grandma. Daddy is bad. Mommy sent Daddy to prison, so Mommy is good. Logan supports Mommy. I smiled and pulled him into my arms. He truly was the child I had raised. At last, I brought Logan to Mom's grave and said, Mom, it's been 3 years. I finally cleared your name. You can rest in peace now.